Hello, hello, everybody. It is 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific. Welcome to another edition of a Senturus webinar. Today's, we're going to be focused on Power Automate with Power BI. So we're branching out into those other Power Apps that are all part of the Power Apps suite. We're coming up on this. Our agenda. Do a quick introduction for those of you who do not know me. We will then do a Power Automate overview. Then I'm going to show you some different ways of integrating Power Automate into Power BI reports and into Power BI apps and Power BI dashboards. At the end, we'll wrap up with a Senturus overview and some additional resources because, of course, we got to get the marketing stuff in there, right? It wouldn't be a webinar without the marketing stuff. I mean, look, at least be happy that they let me drive these things on my own now. At least you don't have to listen to a marketing person, just me. We'll finish it up with Q&A. To that end, who is this strange person talking to you today? That's me, Patrick Powers, data scientist, consultant, trainer with Senturus. This marks my 25th year of data science, data analytics, data warehousing, whatever term du jour you wish to give it this week. I've been doing this both as a trainer in the real world for 2.5 decades. I deliver classes on Power BI, Tableau, Cognos, starting broaden that out into the rest of the Power App suite. I'm certified in multiple programming languages, Java, C++, working on becoming a Python expert. I also have database certifications, Tableau, Cognos certifications, etc. I'm old, and I've been doing this a long time. That's about all I can say of that. Real quick, we'd like to do a poll. We've got a poll. I'm going to put it up here for about 1 minute. I'm going to get my timer ready. And what we'd like to know is, what tools are you currently using for automation, if any at all? So I'm going to go ahead and launch that. So we got 39% of you currently using Power Automate, and I would assume that you're using it as itself. You're using it as the standalone product versus within Power BI. 2% of you are doing if-then situations. We got about 9% with UiPath. 23% doing other, and I would wager that other is probably some homegrown code that somebody's written over the years. And then the majority, 45% of you coming in with no automation at all. So welcome to this. Hopefully I'm going to open your eyes up to some of the things you can get out of automation and why you'd want to consider it in the first place. Heck, if you're here, odds are you are already considering it. All right, so let's hide that. Let's move this on. So let's start with, what the heck is Power Automate? So Power Automate is a standalone. There are different versions. There's a standalone desktop product, and that is also pre-installed in Windows 11. So any of you who are looking at or considering Windows 11, Power Automate's already built in. It's already there. Okay? You can also use the Office 365 version of Power Automate to do the kinds of things we're going to be doing today. You don't actually have to have the desktop version installed. You can do this with your 365 version. And what we would use it for is automating business processes, sending automatic reminders, moving data. Now, when I'm talking about these types of things, I'm talking about using it as a standalone tool, not necessarily within Power BI. Some of these things can be done within Power BI, but this is just the product itself. What kinds of things can you do with the product itself? The nice part about Power Automate, it is a simple low-code interface, and one of the best parts is the support community that Microsoft has provided for this. if you go out to powerautomate.microsoft.com, no, I don't need help. Thank you. Thank you, random background person. I'm going to post this in the chat window for you all as well. Here you can get more in-depth information. You can also get some good case studies per industry. And as I was just saying, we've got it for desktop, we've got it for mobile, we've got it for web, we've got it for Teams. And there are some really great case studies, how to use it for your particular business, how to use it in your environment. Some great stuff going out there. And then there's this, the Power Automate templates. I'm going to come back to that, but keep that in mind, okay? Keep that little thing in mind there. I'm going to keep this open though. Here is an example of the low code. As you can see, it's JSON. So it really is a pretty straightforward, pretty easy language. I would wager that a number of you already know JSON. If you are coming from any kind of a Cognos 11 background, you probably have learned JSON for visualizations, for building themes and scanning. It's just JSON, folks. That's it. Whether you use the GUI interface or whether you actually look at the code itself, it's just JSON. Pretty straightforward. Okay. And with that, let's talk about how we integrated it into Power BI, because that's what we're looking for here, right? Within Power BI, there is a visualization. So right in your visualizations pane, you would see a little Power BI or Power Automate. Oh, and I should also mention, those of you who are old like me, you may know this product under another name. This was originally Flow, Microsoft Flow. Okay. So this is the evolution of Flow. I like Power Automate better. That's just me. But we've got a visualization icon in our Viz screen, and we can use it for things like getting notifications, synchronizing files, collecting data, generating emails, generating Teams messages, sending it out to tasks, and using the APIs for some really cool business-specific things. One of the examples I'm going to show you today has to do with weather. Ooh, that sounds exciting. It's not, but it will be, I promise. When we add our Viz gives us this. And what it's telling us is the 4 things that you need to do. Add any data fields if you need them. Set up your flow, and that's the important part. Step 2 is the important part. Okay. Then we apply it to our button, our Power Automate button, and then we format our button to make it look good. Ramesh, so you can indirectly use Power Automate for things like user input, okay? But the trigger itself will be a button essentially on the page, but that button can read from data. So if you've got data fields, parameters, things like that that can be populated, then that data can be passed to the trigger. And then when you trigger it, it'll send it off. And these triggers can be scheduled. They can be set up to run when needed. So hopefully, Ramesh, that gives you some idea of what we're talking about here. Okay. One of the best things that I have found with Power Automate is you don't need to reinvent the wheel. Any of you who know me know that I am one of the laziest people on the face of the earth. And if I don't ever have to reinvent the wheel, I'm not going to. Those templates that I showed you earlier. There are numerous templates available on the Power Automate site. And what you're looking for is this little icon right here. This little icon that indicates this is a Power BI template. So if we go back to that page I just showed you a second ago, and I say Power BI, there's that icon. And look at some of this. Run sentiment analysis on tweets and push results to a Power BI data set. Wow, how specific is that? Trigger a flow with a data-driven alert. Send an email, send a Teams message, update an Excel table. So Ramesh, my best answer for your question, which is can we use Power Automate for user input? I would start here. I would start here on the templates page. I would look to see if somebody's already built a template and if that would fit your needs, that'll be a good starting place. Okay? And gang, I've been scrolling this whole time. Look at all this. Okay? Come on, somebody be impressed. I know you're all oohing and ahhing. You're just not able to ooh and ah out loud. But this is pretty cool. Got a lot of good templates. All right, let's go back here. Boop. You used to be able to get it at flow.microsoft.com. You can now get it at the Power Automate link I gave you earlier. Well, thank you, Aaron. You're my bestest friend, right? We already know that. And Monica, it is cool. And Ramesh, it is cool. They do keep adding templates more often. And that's the beauty of this, is that list, and maybe you will design a Power Automate flow that you think other people will benefit from, and you'll put it out on the community, right? Maybe we'll out there see one of yours out there in the future, Ramesh. And I'll be like, hey, I know that person. Let's see what they created. How do you monitor and troubleshoot? Rita, if you go to the link that I put in there a moment ago, Rita was asking for the link. If you go to that link right there and then scroll down, you'll find the templates on that home page. Okay? It'll be right there. You just need to scroll down. Okay? How do you monitor and troubleshoot these things? Well, for troubleshooting, you've got the Power Automate community, also available on that same URL. There is a great community out here. All right, there's a set of forums, there's galleries, you can submit ideas, there's user groups. So if you are having problems getting a flow to run, if you're having trouble with something, start here. Well, of course, you should start by calling or emailing your favorite Senturus employee, because I know you all have our email addresses. So, email us first. We'll help you. We were born to do that. Okay. Now, as far as a bigger picture, as I said earlier, we're starting to venture more into this whole Power Apps situation. It's no longer just Power BI, right? And I think a lot of you, as you go down your Power BI journey, you're probably finding that out. That this is a bigger suite of things, that it is a bigger picture. And for that, one thing you want to look at is the Microsoft Center of Excellence that is available for your Power BI and Power Apps environment. And yes, before you even ask Rita, I will put this URL in there too, I promise. There is a Microsoft Center of Excellence Power BI dashboard. So you can use this to monitor things like your flow, your entire Power BI environment. You see it gives you this great dashboard. You can manage your Teams environment. You can manage all your apps. So this is a kind of thing, again, looking at the bigger picture. And of course, we at Senturus, we can help you out. We can help you get your Center of Excellence set up. We can help you evaluate your environment. And of course, we can help you build your flows and make sure that you're good to go. Adrian, I see that you put a question in there about connecting data flow and data refreshes. I don't think that that's something I can answer, in a couple seconds here. So that might be one where you may want to reach out to us and we could sit down with you and see the issue and hopefully work it through with you. That, again, off the top of my head and in a 30-second answer, I don't have one either. But that is definitely something that we as an organization can help you with. Oh. And I'm surprised you didn't find anything in the forums, but I get it. A lot of this is new for a lot of people, so basic stuff, yeah, absolutely. It's there, it's out there. But more specific stuff, we all need a little help. We all get by with a little help from our friends, right? And you've got a friend at Senturus. There's your marketing stuff for the day. Now, 2:20, demo time. Yep, and now all of you have hammer time stuck in your head. You're welcome. Here we are. I'm back over in my VM world, which is theoretically working this time. Any of you came to my webinar last week, my VM had some issues and I had to rebuild it. Yay, that was fun. Nothing like rebuilding an entire VM. So real quick, I've already gone ahead and pre-installed Power Automate. Now, I did not need to use it from here. I could use my 365 version as well, but I have gone ahead and I've installed it here. I am logged in as me. Okay. I have been logged in. I know I've missed you, Mo. Mo is saying that they haven't been to one of my webinars in a while. But if I were going to build a flow outside, if I was going to build a flow outside of Power BI, I can do it right here. Okay. I can do it right here inside of Power Automate Desktop. It's been a rough 2 years, hasn't it, Mo? I haven't been down south in quite a while. I miss it. And here we see all sorts of actions. We see all sorts of cool stuff. Again, more than just Power BI. Variables, conditionals, loops. Oh my. And we got things like subflows and main flows. Ooh, fancy. I would, even if you are only initially planning to use it in Power BI, I still recommend checking out the desktop version because you might uncover things that you didn't know you could automate, and you might be able to add something new. Okay. This is the future, people. We're automating. But let us focus on just doing it in Power BI. Now, I already have a version that's open that works. Just, being safe here because you never know what's going to happen. That's weird. Okay. Let's see if I can clean that up a bit. It's looking kind of weird. My toolbar is looking a little weird. Okay. So here I am. I'm in Power BI. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to add some data. I don't necessarily need data, but I'm going to add some anyway, just so I've got it in here. Nothing fancy. It's just an Excel file with some tables. I'm going to load it. Okay. And I'm going to add a visualization to my page. I'm going to leave some space up at the top. You'll see why in a second. And I'm just going to add in country. I'm going to add in some sales. And here I've got my sales by country. Mo, not at all. Mo asked if this is equivalent of Tableau Prep. Power Query Editor is the equivalent of Tableau Prep. Power Automate is solely an automation tool. It's not a data cleanser. It's not going to help you in that respect, but that's why you have Power Query Editor. Okay? So let's say I've got this visualization and I want to notify my Teams group when I see an anomaly on this report. I want to be able to go, oh no, Germany's numbers don't look good. Let me notify the Germany team. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a Power Automate button. Look at me go. Okay. I'm going to add this button. Oop. Everybody who saw what I just did, thank you. There we go. Make sure nothing's selected first, you big dummy. There we go. I'm going to add this button. And there's what I was showing you before, is that it shows us initially the 4 steps. And what we want to do is we want to click this more icon. And we want to edit this. Here's where we get into our flow. This is our flow. And this is where we build our flow. Now you see I've already built a few. These are flows that I've built. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to delete this one because I want to build it again from scratch. Okay. Come on. And I'm going to say, gosh, I wonder if there's a template. Oh, look, there is. There is a template, send a Teams message from Power BI. Notice the first thing that it does. It checks to make sure that I'm logged in, that I have the right credentials to build this flow. Okay. And if I wasn't, I could log in, I could use a different account, etc. But in this case, it's verified, I'm logged in, I'm good to go. And now I have to specify the steps. So this is the initial step. My initial step is on button click. So do this on button click. And the next step is post a message as the Flowbot to a user. Okay? When I click in that box, check this out. I can add an email address or I can actually add in individual user dynamic content. So I could send this to myself, basically. Okay? I might want to send this to myself as a reminder. I could use my dynamic email address to send that to me. And in the message, I could say, review latest Germany numbers. And add a subject, new sales numbers posted. Once again, I can add dynamic content, so I can timestamp that. There are some advanced options in this case. If I want a summary, if I want this shown in the activity feed, I could send this to, and the question came in from Debbie, can I send this to a team or a channel? You bet. Look at that. I have the entire training team. So not only can I send it to myself, but I could send it to a channel. You bet. Okay. I could also add more steps if I wanted it to also send an email, if I wanted it to update something, if I wanted it to post a task. Now, we're going to do some of those individually, so I'm not going to add those steps here. So I'm just going to save that, and it'll take me back to my previous screen. Or I could directly, so I can either go back to my list, or I can directly save and apply. That applies this flow to my button. So if I hit save and apply, I have successfully applied that flow to my button. So let's go back to my report. Notice that my button now changes. So now I can make my button smaller, and I can format my button because nobody wants to see something that says run flow. Send Teams message. Okay. And I can change the fill. I can make it all fancy. Look at me, I'm fancy. I like that better. Okay. I can change the effects. I can change the title. We'll add a fancy shadow to it. Ooh, look at that. And then maybe I'll move it over here to the right. Ta-da! There it is. So who wants to see it in action? I know. We sold you an entire seat, but you only need the edge. Remember, I'm in desktop, so that means I have to control click to execute this. If I published it out to the service, it would just be a single click, but in here it's a control click. So when I control click it, triggering, triggered, and let's make sure that went. Now, come on. Oh, don't you love when things don't do what they're supposed to do? Let's try this again. Let's edit it. Let's make sure it's going to the right person. So I'm going to take that, send to Teams. I'm going to edit it. Let's make sure it's going to me. I swear I did this earlier and it worked just fine. Okay, now I know it's going to me. Save and apply. Trigger that flow. There we go. So I may not have been picking up my name dynamically correctly. Could just be my login. Could just be my login. But there it is. Ta-da! New sales numbers posted with my date timestamp. Okay. And not sure why the one did not go out to the test group. It should have. So that's interesting. I gotta make sure. It could just simply be that that's not active right now inside of Teams. So Carrie had a question. Can it be automatically downloaded and sent as an email? I haven't seen a template that does that. Doesn't mean it's not possible. I know you can send things. You may have better luck doing that with a paginated report versus a standard visualization, because a paginated report would create more of that physical object that could be downloaded and sent as an attachment. Okay. But you know what, Carrie? Let's take a look through the templates and see if there is one. Why the heck not? I'm going to add a new one. I'm going to edit it. So now I can send an email. Okay, I can send an email. No match found, really. Hold on one second. I'm going to start a new flow this time. That's what I want. Might help if I was searching in the right place. Okay, those are the only ones it's giving me for some reason. I started a new one from a flow. I'm adding a new step. There we go. There we go. So I can send an email notification. I can send an email with options. I can get an email, delete an email, reply to email, send an email. I can get an attachment. I'm not seeing one specifically. Yeah, I'm not seeing one specifically here for an email of a Power BI based starting place and action. Here we go. That's what I was looking for. This would be what you wanted, and this was what I said a minute ago. Export it to a file, and then send that file. So you can export. There is an action to export as a PDF, as a PowerPoint, or a PNG. Okay. How I get that to go as an attachment, I don't know. I'd have to work through the flows together. Does that help, Carrie? Does that give you a starting place? Okay. All right. I would like to create one to show you something else, how we can actually do this to use it to update an XLS file. Ooh, that sounds kind of nifty, doesn't it? Updating an XLS file. So let me log in over here to my SharePoint. So I've got a file out on my SharePoint. Okay. Thought I did. Man, you just ever have one of those days? Could be I'm logged into the wrong one. And what I want to do is I want to update it when I have new data. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and I am going to come back here. I'm going to go back to the one that I was using. Edit. And I'm going to update an Excel table from Power BI. Chris, it has been. Thank you for that. It has been Monday. You know, the problem is today's Thursday, and I never could quite get the hang of Thursdays. Okay. So here it's looking. It's making sure that I am connected. It's making sure that I am connected to my Excel as well. I'm just worried somebody deleted what I wanted. Just because, you know, that would be par for the course, right? There it is. Thank you. So real quick here, I have this forecast.xls file out on my SharePoint, okay? And I want to update a row of data in it based on what I see on the report. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead, push that back over here. And once again, because I'm starting from the template, it really is a fill in the blank. So I'm going to say from my SharePoint, my training webinar demo, go into documents. I only have one file out there. I'm going to specify the table. I'm going to specify the key column. And I'm going to specify the key value. So I'm going to update that based on the row I want to update. Okay? So this is based on the row I want to update. So I'm going to update 971 and I'm going to update it with a new number. Now, I know what you're going to ask. Yes, this can be generated from a piece of data on the page. I can click on that piece of data to trigger it and pass that value dynamically. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and save that. I'm doing some manual stuff here, mostly just to get you guys all to see how this works so that you can actually see the process. So again, nothing's on here right now. I have no data on here. I have no visualizations, but I'm still able to trigger that flow. Okay. And when I trigger that flow, okay, let's make sure it actually ran successfully. So if I come back here, take a look at the details. Okay. May 13th. Oh, that's the wrong one. I have two of them in there now. That one. All right. On May 19th at 2:38 p.m., it succeeded. So let's prove it. There's my new value. I updated that XLS file from clicking a single button. And again, these things can be automated even more. I could have had the product type code been picked up from a viz. I could have the value picked up from a viz. All I really needed to specify was what column is the key and what column are you updating. Okay? Pretty cool? Hopefully you guys think that's pretty neat. Somebody pretend like that's exciting for me, you know? I've got another one for you. Oh, look, I can improve my flow. Hey, what's this? What's Process Insights? So now this is something that's currently in preview. And what this is going to do is it's going to analyze our run as a process map. Okay. It's going to analyze this as a process map. Hopefully it won't take too long. And this is why we don't use preview features in demos, right? All right, I'm gonna see if I can let that stay in the background. I'm gonna come back here. Let's take a look now. It does, Joseph. Joseph's question was, where does this Excel file have to be? Does it have to be in OneDrive or SharePoint? Yes, because it is calling out. We're not able to update Donna's local desktop, unfortunately. Okay. That would be really cool, but it's got to be able to reach it. It's got to be able to get to it on a network. And of course, Microsoft wants you to use everything inside of one application, right? Does that answer that, Joseph, for you? Let's add another one. Now, I've got one out here that I already built, and I'm going to show it to you. I'm going to use one of the APIs to get today's forecast. Okay. I want to get today's forecast. What? Why would I use something like that? Go back. I can never figure out where the back is on this. Apply. Nope. That's not what I wanted. Let's walk through building that one together and see what it's actually doing. So I'm going to start a new flow. I'm going to add a new step. And first off, look at all these different connectors there are. Be impressed. Okay. So Carrie, going back to your question, there is a PDF connector. And Adrian, who unfortunately left, there are data flow connectors. But look at this huge list of connectors that are available. Okay. So many. Let's go back. One of the ones up the top here. Oh, no worry. I was just saying, Adrian, I was just showing all the different connectors, and that I would hope that there's one in here that would work for what you're trying to do as far as a data flow. I don't know again, but this is where I would start looking if I was building it from scratch, is trying to figure out from this list if there was one that would meet the needs, right? But one that's up here up the top, MSN Weather. This API, the MS Weather API, okay, I can use this to get things like the current forecast, the current weather, okay, or I could get the forecast tomorrow. There are almost 90 of you on this call. At least one or two of you probably has a business situation where weather plays a role, whether it's shipping, whether it's trucking, whether it's any kind of manufacturing or anything. Wouldn't it be nice if you got tomorrow's weather and knew that you might need to move a truck, or you might need to change your layout or call a crew off? That's kind of neat. That's the kind of automation that you probably aren't thinking about right now, but they can be put in here. So if I had a visualization that showed me weather, and tomorrow's forecast was okay, so I can get the forecast for tomorrow, and then based on that, what do you want me to do? I could do until, I could terminate, I could switch. Yes, John, exactly. You got a snowstorm coming your way. Perfect, see? So for sales calls, for trucking, for shipping, for customers coming in. Excellent, excellent way to think about that, okay? That's exactly what I want you thinking of. So what I could do with that, I've got, like I say, I've already got this one. I've got one that gets the forecast for today. Here's my condition. If day is equal to true, send an email notification. Now, I did get the forecast for today, and I just chose to use one of the built-in day-night functions. Okay? But let me show you. There are a lot of things you can call in that API. So if I want the current location, the current units, if I want day, night, if I want what the current pressure is, the conditions, the dew point, these are all parts of that MS Weather API. These are all variables that you can use and call. Okay. So I can use the caption of weather conditions such as rainy, sunny, snow. Hey, is there a 90% chance of precipitation? Call those. If it's equal to true, send an email notification. If not, don't do anything. I save it. I apply it to my button. I've got a viz that shows me the weather or shows me the trucks that are due tomorrow or my appointments that are due tomorrow. I say, oh no, it's going to snow tomorrow. Send that message. Okay? Send that message out. And now it's gone ahead and it has sent an email to the email address that I specified in there, which should have been mine. So let's take a look at that. Inside of this part of the condition, I've specified who it should go to, saying it's daytime, yes, it's good to go. I'm just waiting for the email to come through because, of course, it's going to take its sweet time. But it would send it out there. Now, along those same lines, the last one I want to show you right now, officially, there is one where you can add tasks. So I can create a task from Power BI. So here's one where, based on what I want it to do, I want you to add a task to somebody's Outlook. I see you put a long question in there, Adrian. If you give me a second, I'll read it while I'm running this come up. So you looked at Power Automation very differently, responsible for making the data sets available. So your processes start from external. So yeah, that is definitely a different way than I'm approaching it here. I'm approaching it as making it more interactive and coming from within this environment. So yes. So now, here's one where I've got a task. And I want this task to go to a specific person. I want it to go to a specific folder. I want it to get pushed out, what folder it's going to, etc. And when I save and apply that, this one, when it's triggered, just created a task in my Outlook. Look at this. Ta-da! So I just pushed to an Outlook inbox a task for somebody to accomplish. Think about how much time that would save and the paper trail you've created. I never saw that task. Oh yeah, it's right here. I sent it from in here. Here you go. Now, one last thing before I completely wrap up. I do want to show you one of the things in the flows. I'm going to start one from the Instant Cloud flow. New step. And I am going to go to the Power BI ones. Take a look at this. I can basically use Power BI to call Power BI, update a goal, update check-in, refresh a data set, export to a file. So I can use Power BI flows to connect to Power BI flows. Okay. And this is what I was thinking of for yours, Adrian, was adding rows to a data set, but that's not quite what you're looking for. But again, yeah, there are Power BI flows for Power BI. And if you were to use this list, if you scroll down far enough, there it is. There's also other Power Automate. There's Power Apps. We got Power Apps for admin. We've got standard Power Apps. All of this is available in here. Okay. And it is 2:51. We are right on schedule. Overall summary. Plan this out. Talk to your users. See what they might have that they want you to automate. There may be things you never thought of. Okay? Then you're going to want to install the Power Automate app on the appropriate users' desktops. Make sure they have access to it in 365. And then start building. This is one of those ones that's really fun, gang. I honestly believe that. This is a fun one because you're going to come up with things you never thought. Okay? You never thought of automating. Stanley, I don't know off the top of my head, but you know what? I'm willing to take a look for you real quick. Okay? Bye, Mo. It was great seeing you again. But let's take a real quick look. So the question was there a connector to open a URL? And I'm just gonna search for URL and see what comes back. So I've got a OneDrive, I've got a short URL. All of these reference URL. I don't know the details of what they're able to do for a URL, but these all reference the ability to read a URL. Okay? So you can start there. And Stanley, hopefully that will get you what you need. All right, back to this. Just to wrap up, gang. As some of you know, Senturus has hundreds of free resources on our website. We've been committed to sharing this information for over a year. I've done a lot of these Power BI ones lately. I did the Gateway. I've done ones with Python and R recently. So, hey, you can find all of those out on our website. Okay, you can see these in our Knowledge Center. You can look at them later. You can watch them. Our YouTube channel, we've got a lot of stuff on there. Okay. And just a quick follow-up, Ramesh, you can open up a URL with dataset, column definition, and modeling. Perfect. Thank you very much, Ramesh. So, Stanley, there's your answer. There is the dataset, column definition, and modeling. You can open a URL that way. All right, so we've got our reviews, our tech tips, our insider stuff. We've got all sorts of stuff out there. Upcoming events. Hey, we will be participating in a virtual conference, the Zero Gravity Conference by Encorda. That is next week, May 26th, week from today, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Stop by our virtual booth. Okay. Say hi to us. We're then doing some stuff with Cognos Cleanup. We're going to confidently assess and budget a Cognos Cleanup migration. That's in June. And then, if you haven't had enough of my voice, Aaron, on June 23rd, I'm going to be doing a webinar talking about modeling. And this is going to be product non-specific. We're going to be talking just solely about why you have to have a good model regardless of the tool. And what does that mean? What is a good model? Okay? So I'd love to see you all on June 23rd. Same bat time, same bat channel. And as Scott just put in the chat window, we are absolutely always happy to follow up. So some folks, Adrian, Aaron, even your question that I haven't had a chance to fully look at yet, Scott just put a link in there where we can follow up with you. We've been doing this for a long time. We concentrate on BI modernizations and migrations across the stack. Full spectrum of services from training and all the products, Power BI, Cognos, Tableau, proprietary software for bimodal BI and migrations, and we can help if you have a hybrid environment. You got half Cognos, half Power BI, and as Car Talk would say, half Tableau, so, 3 halves, we can help you. Doing this a long time, 21 years, 1,300 clients, 3,000 projects. We're big enough to handle your needs and small enough to provide personal attention. And lastly, we've got some open positions. We're looking for a managing consultant and a senior Microsoft BI consultant. You can find the jobs on our career page. And you can send your resume off to jobs@senturus.com. All right, that takes us to the Q&A. So let's see if I missed anything. What did I miss? I did miss yours, Aaron. So let's see what you're saying. You're starting with goals in Power BI. It looks like anyone updating a goal has to have a Power BI Pro license. Honestly, that does not surprise me. I would say there are probably some out there that would require a premium license as well. Scott might be able to help you better with that licensing situation. I do know there are some that do require a premium license and even more than just a pro license. So, yeah, it's going to be hit or miss which license each one needs. All right. And I think I got every single question today. So thank you all very much. 2:57. I got you out of here with 3 minutes to spare. Have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. Have a wonderful weekend. Give us a chat. Reach out. Come talk to us. There was one last question I think went in there. We'll do it the cloud flow. Wenda. So again, that's kind of what I was thinking earlier, is that, yeah, I can see how you can create the file, but I don't know how you would be able to send it, and it looks like you are in the same ballpark where you can get the file created but can't get it sent. So that does not surprise me. All right. But again, if you want to reach out to us and follow up, hey, feel free. We can see if we can have one of our consultants help you with that. All right, get the heck out of here, you crazy kids. Have a great weekend.